Good morning, everyone. Welcome once again to another series of Motivating Monday. For many of us Christians, or even for those who have been familiar with the Bible, we know our Lord calmed the raging storm with his words, "Peace, be still." He also walked on stormy water, and in a separate occasion, he raised the dead, resurrection of Lazarus. These are things that are humanly impossible. But he did those greatest of work, so much so that people may believe that he is the Messiah and true Son of God. However, even in those days, many still were not moved or chose not to believe in him. Today, I would like to share with you on this verse from the Bible, John chapter 13, verse 4 and 5. In here, we will see our Lord Jesus Christ washing the dirty feet of his disciples. Can any of us imagine doing so? Even when it comes to cleaning our clothes or our home, we may be quite reluctant at times, right? We may be distracted by our daily needs and wants, like playing games or watching a movie, right? But why then did our Lord wash the feet of his disciples? The answer will be far more breathtaking than the mountains that we see in this picture. Right. So despite the many guidance, teachings, and rebuking from our Lord to guide the disciples, there were three instances that the disciples argued against one another of who is better than the other. We saw this in these verses like the Luke chapter 9 verses 43 to 50. After our Lord healed a child from an unclean spirit, the the disciples were kind of arguing, comparing who is better than the other so that they will be next to our Lord as he continue to do such great works, right? So, and another verse is there in Mark 10, verse 32 to 45. Jesus was actually traveling up to Jerusalem to serve in his uh, final week, right? So at that point of time, he actually revealed again to the disciples of what actually awaits him, right? He's about to go through a lot of suffering, and he described to his disciples the coming cross, um, and all the challenges they have to go through, right? But then again, the disciples were once again distracted and lost the meaning of what our Lord was trying to share with them. And then they became unhappy among each other. Like then they were saying that who will actually get to sit on the right hand or left hand of Christ. It seems like they didn't really capture the importance of what our Lord was trying to share with them. And finally, even in Luke chapter 22, verse 24, after the Lord's Supper, the same night in which our Lord would be betrayed by Judas, the disciples were once again arguing among each other and who will be greatest among them. So, in all these moments, we can for sure know that the disciples truly were not paying attention to what our Lord was trying to share with them. The struggles they has to go through to help them, to save them, right? Or not just them, but the whole of mankind. And in all these verses, there's some key messages will be shared by our Lord. All right, and the key message will point towards this, that it's far more important to serve than to be served, right? So in the three verses that I mentioned just now, Christ will go on to say that it is the least among you shall be great, and whosoever of you will be chiefest shall be servant of all. Even the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many. And even in Luke, he will go on to say that the greatest among you, let him be younger, and he that is chief, as he that doth serve. So in all of these messages, once again, a lot was trying to share with them that is far more important that we are willing to serve and be ready to serve than to be served. So in this example in Luke, probably we know that this will be Christ would know that this will be the last time that he will get to spend with his disciples, whom he loves them as his children, right? So he will go on to demonstrate how much he loves them. So what he did was, when they were arguing, and our Lord basically he rise up, okay, from the supper. That means to say he actually deliberately, right, without hesitation or having second thoughts, right? He, even though he was in, he just finished the Lord's Supper, and there could be a lot of uh, things that his hands is busy with, but he just put all of them aside. In addition, he actually also laid aside his garments, right, which are not fit for the purpose that which he's about to do. And instead, he actually took a towel, all right, which is far more important than his garment at this time, so that he can actually clean the feet of his disciples. He then actually binded this towel, right, around his waist, just like how a servant would want to be able to get ready to do his work. So can we then imagine how our Lord actually transformed himself from a master to a servant readily without even any hesitation? He then, in verse 5, he then poured out generously water into a basin, right? And then he began to wash the disciples' feet. And, and, uh, and he did so with full dedication to the work of cleaning the disciples' feet. And then he dried with a towel that which he actually had it around his waist. The same hands that actually healed the blind, lifted Peter out of the stormy water, is the same blessed hand is now washing the feet of his beloved disciples' feet. And indeed, later on, is this same lovely hand of our Lord that will be pierced to save all of mankind. So, why did our Lord do so much for us? Because he loved us and he wanted to set an example for us to follow. In like manner, we should also take courage and be ready to serve with humility and dedication. We should not be afraid that the work that is trusted upon us, even if it could appear dull, dirty, or even dangerous for that matter, for the sake of Christ, we must go all out to serve God, right? So sometimes in the process, things can look a bit daunting, difficult, boring, confusing, right? Our faith will be tested, but we shall not give up or be distracted. Maybe just like the mountains that we saw at the start of this sharing, right, this morning, we should always remember that there is nothing bigger than God who rules the entire universe, right? Just as what our Lord has taught us in Matthew chapter 17, verse 20. If ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. So with faith in God, we can truly move those mountains that may hinder us in serving God. As long as we serve as a faithful vessel, God can still use us for His good works. And finally, right, following as we recover from COVID, where we have been sort of like living virtually for the last 2 years or so, it is time to slowly get back to the rhythm of doing things that which we used to do, spending more time interacting and serving physically, right? Meeting each other, being grateful to talk to one another, and looking after each other. So with this opening, that means to say, let's get unplugged, right? This time we get unplugged. And we prioritize more physical time than digital time, right? We focus more on church activities for more face-to-face interaction like Bible classes, fellowship activities, right? And also get involved in more healthy outdoor activities that has been planned for all of us. with our loved ones, with our parents, with our kids, our brethren, and also with our friends, right? So hopefully, I believe that these little things that we can do together will definitely make a big difference for all of us. So, having said all this, I wish you a great day ahead, and please have a nice week also. Thank you.